Hey everybody, it's Jessica from Stitch House, and I realized that we haven't done a live demo on the Brother Dream Machine. So I'd be remiss to not do one because we put out such a great deal at over 60% off on these machines. So I've got Emily behind the camera, and she just waved even though you can't see her right now. I got Emily behind the camera, and we're going to show some really cool features of this machine. And I'm going to start with sewing because I actually use the Luminaire, which is the one jump up from this, in our video that's coming out tomorrow for our Good Neighbor block. And I sewed using the Move It Foot. So we're going to start with sewing. I'm also going to go into some embroidery features, what the machine comes with, and also what I love about this machine. So to get started, this is the Brother Dream Machine 2. It's the XV8550D. There is a Dream Machine 1, and we do have some options of those available, but the Dream Machine 2 is the latest Dream Machine on the market. One of the reasons I like the machine over the newer machines that have come out, like the Stippling line, is that the camera is actually built into this machine. So everything I'm going to show you is all built in. We don't have to use external apps or phones or anything like that. That is the biggest difference between the Dream Machine and the Stippling. So while you can still get a Dream Machine, it's going to be the closest thing available to the Luminaire on the market. And we're gonna go over embroidery hoop features and stuff like that when we get to embroidery, but it is a fabulous, fabulous sewing, embroidery, and quilting machine. So no matter what your craft or hobby is, even if you do garment construction, there's some really great things built into this machine that will help you be successful for what you need to do. So first thing I wanna show you is the foot that I was using yesterday. It's called the Move It Foot. And the Move It Foot is a belt-driven walking foot. This is like a walking foot on steroids. A lot of times we only show the Dream Machine in the capacity of an embroidery machine, but we forget that it's also a very robust sewing machine. And this foot is actually what makes that true. So there's a motor inside of here, and there's a belt that keeps constant pressure on my fabric. So I've got a few layers of denim here, and I'm gonna show you how easily this works. So, Emily, you may wanna get a little closer.
Oh yeah, I'm zooming in. We can't miss this.
Okay, so I'm attaching the Move It Foot right now. And I'm using, this comes with a machine. This is my favorite tool. It's a 3-way screwdriver. So you can use it for your hoops. You can use it for attaching feet to get that last little turn on there. And then you see there's a little tail that hangs off. I'm just going to plug it into the back of my machine. There's only one way you can really do this, so it's not hard. I do have my machine threaded up, but I think it's important to show you how easy this machine threads. I just follow the guides here, down, up, and around, through number 6, through number 7, cut my thread off, I throw my thread on the floor, and then I press the button, and you can see it's going to thread it for me really easy, which is nice. Now, I have my embroidery unit on. I can set my little screwdriver up here. I have my embroidery unit on, and I'm going to click sewing. And when I click sewing, my carriage actually moves out of the way. There's my Starbucks. Moves out of the way, and so I can use this whole area for sewing. If I didn't want to, I could take this off and just have a regular sewing arm, or I have a free arm option here as well. So you have a lot of options for when you're going to sew or embroider. I've got some really thick denim here. I actually love this denim. We sell it here at the store. It's got like this cool, like speckled, like,
cool on both sides.
It's cool on both sides. Like, I think it would be cool to have something like out of it, like on this side too. But it's a really heavy denim. So right now I've got 4 layers here, and I'm gonna go ahead, and I've just got a regular embroidery needle in because we're gonna be embroidering later. I'm gonna lift my presser foot up. All of my buttons for this machine are located on the front of my machine. There's a lot of automation. If you also notice down here at the bottom, my foot control is the dual foot control. This comes standard with the Dream Machine, which is really nice. I have forward to really get myself going. I have a back kick that I can down or cut my thread. And then I also have another programmable foot control here that I can have needle up, needle down, tie off, things like that. So I have a 3-function foot control that comes standard with the machine. That's really nice. My foot control is up right now. I'm going to turn my pivot feature on, which I love to use while I'm sewing. And if you kind of get close to the screen here, you can see that once the dual feed foot or the Move It Foot is plugged in, it tells me my dual feed foot is plugged in. So if you're concerned about sewing heavy things with this machine, don't be. Watch how easy this is. I'm not even gonna put my foot control down. I'm just gonna press forward and let it go. So I'm moving along. I'm at full speed here. I'm not even pulling it through at all. I've got really, really easy movement coming through with my dual feed foot engaged. I can sew off of the fabric, no problem, and then cut it off. And look at that stitch through 4 layers of denim without even a denim needle in here. That's really, really awesome. Now let's get crazy. Let's do it one more time, and let's see if I can switch over to 8 layers of denim, and let's see what it can do. A lot of people forget that this is an industrial strength machine. So just because I don't have a metal case and things like that, people think, well, how many layers? Is it strong? It's a very strong machine. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop my needle in and hit my presser foot. Without a denim needle or anything, I'm still not pulling it through. That move it foot really pulls everything through for me. So that belt driven move it foot is awesome. I'm in pivot feature right now, so it's actually got my presser foot up. And now it'll just start sewing. I can turn corners and everything, all with this really, really thick 8 layers of denim in.
It sounds great.
And it sounds really nice. I mean, it's not clunky, nothing. So I can still use my scissors, cut my thread. So thickness is not an issue here. I mean, this is a beautiful, that's why I chose to use a different color. I thought it would show up a little bit better maybe on video, but thickness is not an issue. So whether you're an at-home embroiderer or you want to whip up some garments or you want to do some pillow coverings with some really thick, maybe like you're doing, it's really thick in certain areas, you should have no issue with this machine. I actually use this move it foot really nicely together, and I put the 1/4 inch attachment on there. Everything I'm showing you comes with the machine, so keep that in mind. It's an awesome, well-equipped machine. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my move up foot off now. There's a lot in sewing that I can continue to show you. One of my favorite things I will show you is that there is a laser guide. We just had someone buy a machine and they called and asked about a fabric guide. It's hard to see on camera, but there is a laser right here along the edge, and you can program that laser to sit wherever you'd like, so you can use it as almost like a guide for when you're putting your fabric along the edge, something to follow along with, which is really nice. The laser is a phenomenal tool for sewers, and again, whether you're quilting or doing really heavy upholstery style stuff, this machine will work just well for you. So let's take off the move it foot and let's transition into embroidery next. So that's just a small part of the sewing machine that I really enjoy about the Dream Machine. I've loved the Move It Foot ever since it came out, and there's a lot of really great sewing features, tons of programmable stitches. The feed dogs also move in multiple directions, so you can get really wide decorative stitches. We teach you all this kind of stuff in our class, so it's a really great thing. If you notice, the Move It Foot had a tail on it, and so that's so that the laser works on the embroidery foot as well, and I'll show you how that works. And I just get it in the right spot. Give it a nice turn. And plug it in. Okay, so now I'm ready for embroidery. All I have to do is click home. And I'm going to go into my embroidery mode right here, and you'll see my arm is going to position into the correct place. So I don't have to take my arm on and off to sew or embroider. I can leave my machine set up the way I want to, and I can easily transition between both things. When we're talking about included accessories as well, you get this really great case for sewing that has all of your feet in it. This is for the Dream Machine, and if I just lift this up, you can see all of the different feet that this comes with. So you're not having to buy a ton of accessories when you're done with the machine. When you first buy the machine, it mostly comes fully loaded. So this doesn't belong in there. There's very few things that you will need to add to this machine. Like I said, especially with the package that we have right now, very fully loaded. So I love the machine for many reasons. I love this little, I call it like my little Barbie case with all of my feet in it. So there's not much, like I said, that you'll have to buy after. It comes with a lot of different hoops as well. So right now what we're gonna do is we're going to show you the largest hoop that it comes with. This is the 9.5 by 14 inch hoop. And the 9.5 by 14 inch hoop is plenty of space
to
do lots of things. Yeah, you can put names in this way. You could do really nice tile scenes, but it also comes with more than this. It comes with a 9.5 by 9.5 inch hoop, which is great for quilt blocks, like I'm gonna show you in a second. It's also great for, it has a 5 by 7 hoop and a 4 by you're doing, or if you just need to embroider something small and don't want to use a lot of stabilizer, all of the hoops are included with Brother. That's very different than other brands. You buy a lot of extras once you own this machine. So the hoops slide on really easy. There's a little lever here, and all I have to do is lift my presser foot up, slide it on, and then I'm ready to go to put my hoop on. So it's really simple to hoop up whatever I need to hoop up. We're going to play a little bit with the with what's built into the machine, so I can show you how easy navigation is on this machine and how simple it is for you to create your own designs. And then I'll talk a little bit about the wireless software we're including so that you can do designs on your computer as well. So this is my basic embroidery navigation screen, and it's really simple to kind of see what I've got here. Even if I was a complete beginner, I would be able to kind of play around and not really mess anything up at all. So depending on what I want to do, I have all different types of categories. Let's choose the dog category because I think this basset hound is really cute. So I'm going to click set. And now I'm working with an embroidery design, and I can tap and move my design around on my screen, which is really nice. And I could do lots of really So one of my favorite things on the Dream Machine is that I can size things more than 20% without actually having to use software. So I have this size with density button right here, and I can get designs really large or really small. And usually that's one of the biggest problems is someone will find a design they like, but then it's just not the right size. So then they've got to bring it into software, bring it back to their machine. This machine, you could do a lot of editing on the screen because it allows you to change the size without having to adjust density. It automatically calculates that for you, which is really nice. So I have this really large dog, and I can click OK. Now say I want to add something to this. It's really simple. And I can go into my different fonts that are built in. My dog's name is Doug. He doesn't look any, and that's not how you spell his name. D-O-U-G, set. Okay, so now if I wanted to move this and put it right in between, I can move it. I can click my edit button again, and I can add multiple designs together into one place, really easy, just touching and dragging. So think of this like an iPad. Whether you have experience on an embroidery machine or not, this is going to be the easiest user interface depending on getting started with embroidery. It does most of the thinking for you, and I'll show you that next with placement. But it's really easy to add and combine patterns together, and I love that. You have a lot of more options in here as well. I can turn things into patches. I can array them, say I want to just arc it and put it over his head. There's lots of really cool things that you can do with the built-in editing on this machine that we like to teach you in class. So I really love showing that a lot. But let's get out of embroidery and let me show you some of the Disney characters before we move on. Brother does have the right licensing to Disney, so you have all of these really great Disney items built in. You also have access to iBroidery.com, which is Disney's exclusive website. So if you are have a Disney enabled machine, which this one is, then you can log on with your serial number and download anything you want. This is a freestanding lace crown that I have not stitched out yet that I want to stitch out. It's so cute. And I think it's really awesome. So you could stitch that out and give that to someone. It'd be really awesome. So you have lots of really cool different built-ins, but the best part of this machine is that it is wireless. So we have this really great software that it's coming with. This is the BES4 Dream Edition software, and it allows the Dream Machine to connect wirelessly, much like the Luminaire does. So this software, it has lots of editing features inside, customization, like that, also adding fonts. There are some add-ons as well, so you can add true type fonts, but the biggest thing is that there is a wireless component to it. So inside here is an SD card that actually sticks into the side of the machine and allows you to wirelessly send designs from your computer to the machine. So all of these designs could be unlimited. You can find designs on Etsy, Anita Good Design, Maureen Wilcoxon has some great designs, Embroidery Garden, there's OESD, Urban Threads, I mean, so so many different places you can find designs for very inexpensive, and you can send them to your machine. You can play with them first in your software if you'd like, and then you can send them to your machine wirelessly. So we really love this program here as well. The other thing that I love about this machine is that there's a camera built in, and I'm going to show you some of the reasons for that next. Let me move this stuff. So we're going to go into My Design Center next, and there's a few different ways people use My Design Center. This is the scan mat that comes with the machine, and so we're going to scan my name in and actually turn it into a stitch really easily. But I wanted to show you this quilt sitting behind me because I'm also going to show you how we did this. This is the Dream Big panel from Hoffman, and each one of these petals has an individual different type of fill in it. It looks like we probably digitized or free motion this ourselves, but we did not. This is actually all done in the embroidery machine, and it can be done in the Dream machine as well. So I wanted to show you first how to create, take something like your name and digitize it. So maybe you wanted to make a quilt label or grandkids drawings that you wanted to turn into embroidery. Or if you're not into that and you're really a quilter and you wanted to see how embroidery can work for quilting, that's all done in My Design Center, and we're gonna go there next and show you a little bit about why My Design Center is really easy, why it's so awesome, and how fun it can be for you to be creative at home. So let's go there next. So just like the hoops, this scan mat comes with it with the magnets, and it goes on just like a hoop. So you see it has an attachment on here. So I'm just gonna lift this up. I'm gonna slide it on here, pull my thread out just a little bit so it's not hanging down, snap it down, and I'm going to go to My Design Center. Again, this is built into your machine, so it's not an extra software program or anything like that you have to buy. I am going to scan in what's on my scan mat. So say this was a recipe card and you wanted to stitch it out onto towels, or this was a grandkid's drawing that they wrote, "I love you, Mimi," or something. You could stitch this out. We did for Christmas for my sister-in-law's grandmother who had passed away. She had one of her last cards that she had written her, and we actually took the signature and we put it on her shirts for all the kids for Christmas, and it was really sweet. So you can do a lot of really creative things with My Design Center. This is just a really basic example, and it's really simple to do it. You don't have to be extremely technically savvy to do this. This is something that you can play along with. There's lots of videos. There's even tutorials on your machine and in this book. So I'm going to show you how easy it is with just a few clicks of a button.
Yep, and my favorite thing, there's no computer inside.
No computer, yeah, Emily hates the computer. So there's no computer involved. It's all built into the machine. So I've got my scan mat attached. Here's how this is going to work. I'm going to scan in from my scan mat. So I can click scan and click OK. And you can see the machine automatically start working, which is awesome. It's going to take a full picture of what I've got in my. You could take a sip of your wine or Starbucks. There's no alcohol. I love it. Do we have any questions from Facebook or anything? Nope. Just watching.
Not yet, just watching.
I really love this machine. When this machine first came out, all the people that bought it at my mom's store, we put the Hall & Oates "You Make My Dreams Come True" song to it. And it's totally a dream machine.
It is totally a dream machine.
I guarantee you no boredom at all if you have this machine at home. You will be embroidering and doing things for hours. I'm sorry. Okay, so give it just a second. Look how quick.
That's cool.
Okay, so now we're going to tell it what type of illustration or line we've scanned in. I'm going to call this a line drawing. I grab my little arrows here and I'm going to crop out those magnets because we don't want to. Digitizing software companies hate this machine because they know a lot of people are doing some really cool things in their machine without software anymore. So no, I'm just kidding. They love this machine, but there's a lot. It's done a lot by just having it built into the machine, and it's made it really accessible for people that are just terrified of computers. So I cropped out my magnets. I clicked OK, and I'm going to click set. And I'm not going to do much more because there's a lot you can do between here and there, but I'm going to show you how quickly we can go from paper to embroidery design. Now I'm going to click set and watch this. Here's my embroidery design. So I can continue to add things to it just like I did before. So maybe I want to add one of the princesses to it. Maybe I want to have this cute shape here, and maybe I want to put my name in it, so I click edit. I'm going to size it down nice and small because I can, and then I can throw my name into this cute little frame, all just by touching and dragging. Really simple. So there's my name, my exact signature, stitched in here into a frame. That's a cute little Disney princess frame without having to do any work on the computer. So that's one way we love My Design Center and the built-in camera. The camera took the picture from my mat, it turned it into stitches, and now if I go next in embroidery, I am ready to embroider, and Jessica's gonna be the first thing that it stitches out. It shows you each color that's coming up, which is really easy. My first color is black. Shows you a preview of what you're going to be stitching, and then it shows you exactly your overall design. I'm gonna show you my favorite way that we can use My Design Center next. And we're gonna use our imagination because this dream big already quilted, but we're going to pretend it's not. Okay, so this is my favorite aftermarket hoop. This is the monster hoop from Dime, and it's magnetic. It's really cool because I can take something like a quilt that's already got multiple layers. So I have my backing, my batting, and my top all sandwiched together here. And I'm gonna pick one flower, and I'm going to hoop that area up, and we're going to pretend like there's not stippling here, and I'm gonna show you how we add stippling here. So all you have to do is take your quilt, I'll use my chair.
To a clean place in your sewing space.
Wherever that may be, and I know that you guys are just like me. You may be using your dining room table or something. And I'm gonna pick a panel, a leaf, and watch how easy this goes on. Really simple. And I've got my hoop ready to hoop, and we're actually gonna play with here. So now all we have to do is bring it to my machine and stick it on there. And because this is the Dream Machine, I have plenty of space. So even a quilt like this size or even larger is not an issue on here. I just need to, and this is what I'm going to be working with first. Simple. Okay, so we're gonna go back to My Design Center now. And I'm gonna show you why quilters love this machine. So quilting and embroidery is a very hot thing to mix together now, and the Dream Machine does that very well. So we're gonna use My Design Center to actually add the fill stitches in here.
Before we move on,
Yeah?
Pam wants to know if we sell the monster hoop at the store.
We do. We have all of the, I believe we have all of them in stock right now, right?
We'll have to check on that. That comes in a lot of sizes.
Yes. This is a 9.5 by 9.5, which I do like because it's a nice size to kind of work with a small area at a time. Some people like using the largest hoop as well for this machine, which is 9.5 by 14, but I like working section by section, so this hoop is just a preference of mine. But they do make them in all the different sizes for the machines. Okay, so we're going to take this here, and we're gonna scan in our block. So I wanna see what I'm working with in this area. I don't wanna actually digitize it. So I'm gonna click my scan button at the top the same way we did for the name, and it's going to tell me it's going to scan. And just like it scanned using my scan mat, that camera inside is going to work and take a picture of whatever's in this hoop. I'm just gonna make sure that little piece doesn't fold over. So you just give it a few minutes. You know, I may have a stylus. I do. So you can plug a mouse into this machine, which is really cool. You can also use different types of styluses. This is just a standard stylus that comes with the machine. It's nothing fancy, and it's gonna work just fine. Okay, so right now you may not be able to see on the screen what I've scanned in, but there's ways to make that happen.
Cool.
So here's what I've scanned in. And remember, we wanted to work with this petal right here, and that's really simple to do. So pretend I haven't embroidered anything in there already or quilted anything in there already, and I'm gonna show you exactly how we're going to do this. So first things first, I need to tell my machine what I'm working with. And we've decided that it's this petal. So I'm going to create a boundary using my pencil tool. So I've got options here to connect whatever line I create. And I don't want it to actually sew this line because I don't want it to stitch an outline. I just want it to stitch my stippling. So I'm going to click OK here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the background image just a little bit. So I can have it go all the way away, or I can have it show all the way up. There's reasons for that as you get further into using my design center, but I'm gonna reduce my background image, oops, nope, just a little bit. And now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna start on one end and I'm gonna start drawing my line, following around my petal. You can kind of see that black line that I've just created. Next is I'm gonna get rid of my background altogether, and I'm going to add a fill in. So built into the Dream 2 are mini fills that are great to use. You can see here, these are the different ones I have to work with. I'm going to choose this one that kind of looks like leaves because I think it looks cute on here. And I'm going to give it a color I can recognize, purple. Actually, nope, I won't be able to recognize that very well on the background. Let's do red. Okay, and now all I have to do is tap the area that I've created and fill it in, which is really easy. Now watch this. I'm gonna bring my background image back and I can see all of that red stitching onto that leaf, very simple. If I want to add more, maybe now I can take my paintbrush, I can zoom in a little bit and I can come up into this area here, can zoom a little bit more, and I can make sure I've hit every area that I want. So I'm gonna take my paintbrush, I'm actually gonna draw in with some of those fill stitches in some of the places that I've missed. So let me come down here and see if there's anything that I missed here. I could come in here and draw in a little bit more if I want to. And it's really simple to kind of play with. If I make a mistake, I can also take my eraser and, oops. I can also take my eraser and erase those areas as well. So it's kind of like a very creative Microsoft Paint, except for now what I'm doing is I'm actually turning things into stitches. So let me zoom out. So here is with no background at all, so you can barely see what I filled in. And here is my design that I've stitched in, that I've scanned in. So it's really, really simple to kind of play and add. That's why I like using the 9.5-inch hoop. I like working in small areas at a time. I feel like I get the most control that way, and then I can really be precise with what I'm doing. So one petal at a time or one small block at a time is the way I like to work. Depending on how you like to work with the machine, it will take anything up to the largest size hoop to use this monster hoop. It's really nice. Now watch how easy it is to go next. So I'm gonna click next, I'm gonna click preview, I'm gonna click OK. I am ready to embroider. So you can see my background that I scanned in. You can see where it's going to stitch out that nice little area. I'm going to click set. I don't need to do anything to move my design. It's in the exact spot it needs to be in, and I can just click embroidery, and it's telling me it's 12 minutes, it's about 7,300 stitches, and it's going to embroider right in that spot, which is awesome. One more thing in embroidery with quilting, and then I think we'll take any questions that anybody has and we'll go from there. My last favorite thing about using this machine to quilt and embroider is I can create quilt blocks any way that I want. So let's take one of these Disney designs and let's maybe take, let's see how big she is. Nope, she's not very large. I want to make like a 9-inch block. So, they're small. The one thing about Disney is you cannot size them. So once you pick your Disney character, that is your Disney character. Let's do, oh, that's really cute. Okay, so maybe I want to do a Christmas block. Okay, so here's Mickey and Minnie and their cute little wreath.
Are they about to kiss?
Yeah, they're so cute. Okay, so I want to take this and make this a quilt block really easy. So here's how I'm going to do this using embroidery and my design. I'm going to smash them together and do something really cool. So I'm going to go into embroidery, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click edit. Edit is the top, and it's really easy for me to see. And I'm going to, oops, I didn't mean to go to, okay. I'm gonna click edit, and I'm going to actually take a stamp, an outline of my picture. So you can see here, I can change the distance, because what we're going to do is we're going to add stippling to this, and we're gonna make it a quilt block without ever taking it out of the embroidery machine. So I'm gonna open up my distance from my design just a little bit. You can see that black outline getting further away as I let my distance go larger and larger. And that's because I just don't want the stippling to kind of touch my, my outline of my design here. So once I get my outline to exactly where I want it, I'm going to click this button here, and it's going to tell me find it in my design center. Perfect, because that's what I was going to do. Now I'm going to click add, and I'm going to go to my design center, and now I'm going to start creating my quilt block. So first things first, I'm going to grab a square. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to tell it what size quilt block I want to work with. I have a 9.5 by 9.5 inch hoop on here, which is a great size to make a 9-inch quilt block. So I'm going to go up to about a little bit over 9 inches. Click OK. Now I'm going to bring in that shape that I just created using the stamp. So we're going to go look for that Mickey shape. So remember it said to recall it from my shapes. There's that same icon that we used before, and here's the outline of exactly what we just did. So I'm going to click OK, and you can barely see it probably on your screen, but right here I've got an outline showing up. Now I can add whatever stippling inside that I want. So if I want to come in here and add some really cute stippling, maybe I want to do a crosshatch, click OK, click OK one more time, and then I tap and fill. You can see my crosshatch everywhere besides where my design is going to be. Now watch how easy this is to create a quilt block. In a few steps, I've got my embroidered quilt block ready to go. So the same concept using my hoop here, I can take my quilt layered sandwich, I can quilt as you go, and I can do block by block with my stippling built in, which is really, really nice. So it's other really, really cool features all in the machine. Now, last thing, and then we'll be done. Last thing I want to show you is placement. So I'm going to use a smaller hoop, and I'm going to show you how placement works on this machine using the camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a pen. Let me see if I have a pen. I got one right here. I'm going to pretend that this is something that I need to embroider, oops, right here. It's a name. This is my line. Maybe I've got like some crazy pajamas or something, and it needs to go right on that spot. So how do I get a name right there without measuring, without figuring out the angle, all that kind of stuff? Well, in the Dream Machine 2, it's really, really simple. So we're gonna go into embroidery. I'm going to click a name, and I'm going to just type in my name. Okay, so I'm going to click set now. And how do I know how to get it exactly there? Well, let me show you before this air-soluble pen erases. So I have a cool camera button right here. We've been using it a lot in my design center, but now we're gonna use it for placement and embroidery. So I'm gonna click my camera button, and you're gonna notice my hoop is going to move. And it moves pretty quick. Okay, now you can see on my screen, it's scanned in exactly what's in my hoop. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it slightly so that it goes right on that line. I'm going to size it down slightly so that it fits exactly on that line. I'm gonna move it up, and then I'm gonna zoom in and make sure it's exactly where I need it to be. So simple. So I can place things, if I need to make sure it doesn't hit the line, I can bring it up just like this. I'm gonna click OK, and I'm gonna go to embroidery. Now watch how easy, that took me just a few seconds. Let's thread it up, and let's check to make sure it's stitching in the exact spot. I think it looks perfect. No rulers, no guesswork, just my name in the exact spot that I told the machine to stitch it in, which is really awesome. It's very quiet. It's gonna cut all the jump stitches for me because of this awesome foot on here. So I think we have a pretty phenomenal machine here. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'd be happy to help. I love this machine so much. There's so much more it can do. We have a fabulous package at over 60% off where everything comes with it right now. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to send us an email, give us a call, leave a comment. We'd be happy to help you. Very limited supply of these. This machine only had less than 400,000 stitches on it. So it was brand new and only used in an event one time. Give us a call and we'd be happy to help. Thanks, guys.